What's up, 2025, number one channel in spiritual and intellectual honesty. So we're going to get right into it. It's almost been 3 months since the new Pope has came into the office, right, of the Vatican, right? There's some things that's very significant with him. So we're going to talk about this, right? We're going to go into the science of the papal personificated name, right? Which is Leo the 14th. So there were 14 Leos before him. So we're going to go into this science of him choosing his name was the personificated name of Leo. So with this, right, we're going to see what he's going to initiate. We can predict and anticipate what things he's going to do from his personificated name and from his history and education, right? So we're going to do this backwards, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to give you my prediction, what I believe he's going to, well, one of my predictions, what he's going to initiate and bring in. I believe that he will bring in that priest will be able to marry. So this is something that I think that he's going to bring in. And there's different reasons for this. One, partly because, like I said, because of studying what the Leos did, right, and the history, and also from studying his history and his education, right? So one of the things before he came in, right, everybody thought, since he was from Chicago, that he was going to be a woke pope, right? And this was the contrary. One of the statements that he made, within a few weeks of him becoming pope, he says that holy sacrament of a man of marriage is with a man and a woman. So this went against, of course, the reverse rainbows, right? They were very upset and angry when he said that. So he's not a woke pope, right? So another reason why I believe that this is going to happen as far as priests being able to marry, right? It's time. It's time because lots of the attendance of the church, the declaration of people claiming they're Christian has dwindled extremely, went down south. Like, no one's claiming to be Christian anymore. No one's going to church anymore. Very, very, very significant, right? So for the church to survive, new energies have to come in. So letting priests marry will bring new energies, right? Will keep the church alive as far as bringing new members. So this tradition of priests not being able to marry has nothing to do with any moral factors. It's a tradition, right? Which is a tradition which really isn't a tradition. The tradition is an excuse. It's really because of inheritance, right? Because when you have marriage, you have inheritance of monies and wealth from the church, right? So for that to be controlled, they had to not allow priests to marry. But this is the modern age, right? And they have Pope Paul II, right? He initiated as far as canon law with the UCC codes. He coded, helped code it and coded a lot of the law. And this new Pope, Pope Leo, he's have degrees in canon law. I believe he might be a canon lawyer, which is ecclesiastical law, that they will be able to set something up where priests be able to marry. Of course, they're going to restrict as far as the distribute of monies and wealth is concerned, right? So that'll be I believe that's no longer a factor, that can be cleaned up. So marriage in the church is very needed. So this is why they push aside the rainbows and the alphabet soup eaters and stuff like that, because the way the church operates, this particular principality, they don't do things the way normal people do. They can, wait years and years and years to make moves on the chessboard, because it's not about the individual thoughts or philosophies, right? It's about keeping that thing of theirs going, as far as the church and rulership and the Vatican and stuff, whatever that is. So that's the most important thing, to keep rulership. And they need followers, right? So to keep that energy going, priests need to marry. So this is why he's the lion, right? Because Leo is Latin for lion. Lion, which means bravery, strength, regalness, sovereignty. These things are of a Leo. So we're going to go into all the Leos, right? From Leo the first, who is Leo the Great, and to Leo the 14th, right? So what really made me start to look at this particular Pope, when he declared Rerum Novarum, which is Latin for new things to come, or revolutionary things to come. So just as his predecessor, right, Leo the 13th declared the industrial age, right, the high industrial age of worker rights, of unions, of certain things, right, that came to pass, right? Talked about the balance between the rich and the poor, these particular things, right? So he said that these things are revolutionary, right? And we know that revolutionary things did happen as far as wealth is concerned. More people were able to get wealth during the industrial age than normally that never would happen from that stage. So now we're in the information age, right? When Pope Leo the 14th declared Rerum Novarum, he talked about AI. So from this, we know that AI is going to be a significant factor in history in our lives, right? The AI is not going anywhere. So he declared this, right? So from the science of studying the papal personificated name of Leo, we're going to anticipate what's to come according to his studies and the name that he chooses, right? It doesn't matter if you believe, what you believe about the Pope or the Vatican, right? They've been ruling for 2,000 years, right? And this 2,000 years, they've been adding more and more privileges, and signing in and declaring more privileges and power. So we have to understand that. We're not going to talk about the esoteric powers the Pope has over a state, right? If you want to learn more about that, I suggest you study Jordan Maxwell, Bill Cooper, the Moors, Alim Bey, Hakim Bey, Taj Taruk Bey. You know what I'm saying? Study the stuff about the Moors. They have information on that. And also the Magna Carta. If you want to know more about the powers, the esoteric, that powers that a Pope have over a state, their regal powers, right? We're going to talk about more of the practical things that's going to be initiated and anticipated. Now, if you think that a Pope doesn't have significant influence over the world, well, I'll tell you this. The calendar that we go by, the Gregorian calendar, was initiated by Pope Gregory the 13th. This is a 442-year-old calendar that we all go by, which is very significant. One thing I would like to say that the calendar isn't scientific. What I mean is there's not a reason why July, the month that we're in now, has 31 days. It's not a scientific reason for that. But it's mostly because of power, right? July, which represents Julius Caesar, 31 days, which is 13 backwards, right? 13, the 13 family bloodline. So it's to venerate his bloodline. Same as August, 31 days in August, August the 13th, right? Now you say, hey, bullshit. The calendar is scientific. Well, I'll say this. Why in the calendar, right? October, which is octum, right? Which is 8 in Latin. Why is it the 10th month? Why is November, which is novum, why is it, which means 9, November, why is it, you know what I'm saying? Why is it not the 9th month? You see what I'm saying? So that tells you that the calendar isn't scientific, right? So it's something more significant that the calendar is to do, right? The calendar is about power and to show power every day subconsciously in the minds of each human being that follows it. So this is the power that a pope has, right? A pope can say, today is July 2nd. Say to July 2nd is no longer July 2nd, you know, and make up, you know, and put in whatever date that he wants, right? This is very significant. So this is what we have to realize, the power of the Pope. The powers of the Pope wax and wanes according to the times, right, of 2,000 years. Some were more influential as far as doing certain things and implementing certain powers and fighting wars and making kings and some things like that. But now we're at a time of war. And this particular Pope is in office, which, I mean, do you believe that's coincidence, right? One of the things with the Augustinians, right, because he's an Augustinian Pope. The Augustinians are a monastic part of the church, right? They have a certain code that they live by. One of the things they believe in is they believe in righteous war. So is he here to initiate, you know, a war that's righteous, or is he against a war? So what part does in this dramatic, this stage, you know, because as they say, life is a stage, right? The world is a stage, right? What part is this Pope playing? Is he playing the hero? Is he playing the martyr? Is he playing the victim? Is he playing the revolutionary? What part is he to play in this dynamic coming up, right? So this is what we have to see and look into, and this is what we're going to get into as part of a little series that I will be doing. The personificated name of Leo, from Leo the First, who is Leo the Great, up into Leo the 14th. Now, there are some Leos that wasn't Pope not even a month. You know, some wasn't even Pope barely a year. But we're going to mostly get into the main popes, right? And we're going to talk about the powers of a pope and what they did and what they initiated as far as certain things is when it comes to religion and this fake separation of Protestants and Catholics, right? We're going to talk about go into that also. But from this particular science, as far as the personificated papal name, any pope that comes along will be able to see, according to what they've been through and what they did, and the personificated name, anticipate what they're going to initiate, what they're going to bring in. Join me in this endeavor and this journey. Talk to you all soon.